Okay, to say the least, I can be stubborn internally myself. And I was so stubborn, I refused to incorporate range names into Excel. I thought it was a waste of time. Well, trust me, you need to understand name ranges and you need to incorporate them. What am I talking about? Well, hold on. I'll explain what I'm talking about and why it's so important to incorporate name ranges into your worksheets. Brad Williams, Excel Prime. Section 4.1, range names and why you need them. This is a personal preference. I personally use range names minimally. I typically like to use formulas, but here's an option, and in some cases it just makes sense to use name ranges. And essentially what it is you have a series of data. For example, we'll go over here. We have a series of fruits and produce. If I want to keep track of this information, or if I want to do some quick adding and subtracting, I can name this particular range. I want to total the quantity price of these three items. I can use the simple formula, identify these particular items in a range. And if you look here, this particular range is produce 9. The way you do that is you highlight this particular range, you go up to the name box and you name it. And here over to the right, I have 3 different range names. Example, I have produce 9, and it's shown right here. It should show automatically. I moved this table over and it's not in alignment, but name of this particular range, the quantity, it sees quantity. And the reason it's not lined up is because this table was used in another example. Price is another range. And the reason you use the name range is because here I can look up produce 9 is equal F3. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the price of, let's say, rhubarb or radishes or plums. And you can use a hard-coded method. Here would be produce 9. I would identify produce 9 by simply going equals. Instead of writing produce 9, I can go here and I can highlight that. And that's just hard-coded, and that means the exact same thing. B3 to B13 is the same as equals produce underscore 9. Now here's an example. I've taken the formula here to calculate the price of radishes. And what we do is we take radish 12 times 2, we multiply and we get 24. And you're going to see using range names, we're going to see produce 9 is equal to F3 price and quantity. You can do the same thing in K3. Here's the math using just the simple range identity. And here we have B13, which is the same as grapefruits and rhubarb, this produce section. D3 would be the price range, and C3 is the quantity range. Your preference, if you're working individually and you can read this, is great. If you're collaborating, maybe it's easier to work here and identify by range names. Now, when it comes to managing range names, it can be cumbersome if you don't understand the workflow. If you need to change the identity, or if you typed in the wrong information, for example, you have a range here in B2, which is produce, and it goes from B2 down to B13, but you only named to B10. To fix this, you want to go to Formula, Define Names, and Name Manager. And here in this dialog box, you're going to see listed name ranges. To change produce, go down to produce and look at this information and see if it makes any sense. Is this the information you want? And if you don't want this information, you have choices. You can delete this and start over. You can edit, hit edit, And the way you edit is you can name this scope as anything you want. You can put whatever comment you want in here. And then the range, you can see this goes from C3 to D13. If you don't want to use this particular format, hit cancel, go to produce and hit delete. Hit OK, and your name range is gone. You can also go up in the name box up here below the ribbon, far left, and you can see the various name ranges. Now, some of these may make sense, may not. And if you need to clean this up, simply go back to formulas, name manager, and edit this as you like. If you want to add a new name range, hit new, name it to new fruit. Then if you want to comment, delete this, select whatever range you want. If you want a range from B3 to B13, just highlight B3 to B13, new fruit, and you may get an error because there could be a duplicate, but hit OK. And you're going to see, wow, something's wrong here. What did I do wrong? Well, you can't have a space in the name. To fix the name, put a underscore, hit OK. There's still a space here. See where it says new and then space and fruit. Delete that, hit OK. And now you have new fruit. And the new fruit is this information listed in B3 to B13. And you go, no, I don't want that. Well, just hit delete and new fruit's gone. Now, one word of caution. If you have a name range and it's connected to a formula and you modify the formula, or if you move the range, if I move this particular range, let's say I move it over to sheet 3, it may not track back to sheet 2. Keep aware of the changes. If you change a name, let's just capture this range, copy, let's just open up a new worksheet, go to the bottom of the page, hit the plus button, hit F1, hit Control V, and here you have data range. You're going to see a list of information. Whether this matches, keep track. If you delete a row, your range is no longer valid. Be sure to check out all of our Excel courses. Excel data and text manipulation. We have an advanced beginners and intermediate course. Excel essentials. This is for individuals new to Excel. We have an advanced, excellent beginners, level 1 and level 2, and intermediate level course. Excel formulas, formulas only. We have a beginner, an advanced, and an intermediate level course. Click on any of the links. There's a short video that explains everything about the course. Check it out. So if we go to price, go to name manager, and this was price 9. Go to price 9 and sheet 2. You see price 9 doesn't relate to this any longer. So you don't have a range that matches this new format. You just deleted the row, and you can see it was tied to D5, D15, which makes no sense because here we have F2 to F12. In short, manage your name manager. In other words, manage your data. Close this, go back to sheet 2, go back to name manager, hit price 9, and sheet D5 to D15 is price 9. Go back to sheet, and you can see price now is over an H. Now, when you copy a range over, the range names don't follow. So you'll have to reset your name ranges according to your new sheet. Now, one other point I'd want to show is go back to sheet 2, go back to name manager, price 9, and you can see the misalignment here. This particular name is offset because I copied this from another location and I didn't pay attention to the name manager. So be aware of that. If you're going to move this range to align this correctly, I'll go back to price and you can see the alignment is correct. What you have to do is you have to either move this range, which is in B2 to D13, and move it, or just go back to formula name manager and make the corrections. Brad Williams, Excel Prime.